The NBA is on the edge of collapse. Sponsors running for the hills, fans in shock, and insiders whispering secrets that could destroy the league forever. How did America's favorite sport become ground zero for the biggest gambling scandal in history? Which players, coaches, and executives are secretly cashing in while pretending all is normal? From luxury boxes to hidden offshore accounts, from insider leaks to FBI investigations, the chaos is real and it's only getting worse. Buckle up, cause the truth behind the NBA's downfall is about to be exposed. The NBA, America's most glamorous and profitable sports league, is facing a crisis like no other. Sponsors are fleeing, fans are outraged, and whispers of corruption is spreading like wildfire. Can you believe that the very league that brought us buzzer beaters, dynasties, and iconic moments is now being dragged into the murkiest scandal in sports history? It sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood thriller, but this isn't fiction, this is real. Or at least as real as a scandal this massive could get before anyone officially confirms it. It all began quietly, behind the curtain of luxury suites, roaring crowds, and multi-million-dollar endorsements. A network of secret betting operations had allegedly been operating under the noses of team executives, league officials, and even players. Sources familiar with the situation, speaking on condition of anonymity, describe a sophisticated system where insider information was leaked, prop bets were manipulated, and fortunes were made at the expense of fans, sponsors, and the integrity of the game itself. At the center of the storm, a small circle of high-profile players, some of whom have been household names for over a decade. Their reputations, built over years of highlight reels and championship runs, are now being questioned. Alongside them, a handful of coaches, someone celebrated as geniuses on the court, are allegedly implicated in leaking strategic information, altering lineups, and even influencing outcomes for personal gain. And if you think it stops there, think again. The real shocker? Several league executives, the people we trust to protect the integrity of the game, are said to have turned a blind eye, or worse, facilitated these shady operations. Imagine the NBA's pristine offices, the glass towers, the polished floors, the executive suites lined with championship memorabilia. Now picture federal investigators in dark suits and sunglasses, sweeping through those halls, laptops in hand, collecting evidence that could topple one of the most powerful sports empires in the world. According to insiders, the first cracks appeared last spring, when an unusually high number of suspicious prop bets were flagged by independent monitoring firms. The bets weren't just big, they were mathematically impossible unless someone on the inside was feeding information directly to the gamblers. Multiple anonymous sources describe meetings in luxury hotels, private jet rides, and discreet poker games where the league's elite allegedly traded tips, injury reports, and lineup changes. One source, a self-proclaimed NBA insider, claims, "I've seen players talk about games like stocks. Every injury, every rest day, every substitution, it's like a signal to the market." The source goes on to say that some athletes allegedly played along for thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars in winnings, treating their on-court decisions as if they were part of an elaborate casino game. The situation escalated when the first images leaked, players meeting with suspicious figures in off-the-record meetings, phones exchanged in corners of practice facilities, and private emails that suggested coordination beyond casual conversation. One particularly explosive leak included what appeared to be messages between a star player and a high-stakes gambler, detailing exact minutes of play and scoring predictions for an upcoming playoff game. The leak went viral within hours, shaking fans, analysts, and sponsors alike. Sponsors, who once lined up to pay top dollar for brand visibility in arenas, were the first to react. Companies worth billions suddenly find themselves asking an uncomfortable question. Do we want our brand associated with a league potentially compromised at its core? Within 24 hours, social media was flooded with reports of suspended sponsorships, withdrawn ad campaigns, and executives quietly pausing multi-million-dollar contracts. For a league whose annual sponsorship pool tops $1.5 billion, the financial implications were catastrophic. The backlash wasn't limited to sponsors. Fans, the bloodline of the NBA, were equally enraged. Forums, Reddit threads, and Twitter feeds exploded with speculation, outrage, and outrageously viral memes. One viral clip showed a star player allegedly texting a tip about a teammate's minor injury just before tip-off, followed by rapid bets on an impossible stat line. The caption? NBA or Vegas? The clip alone amassed millions of views in less than 12 hours, with fans debating whether the league's integrity could ever be restored. Adding fuel to the fire, former players and analysts took to live broadcasts, podcasts, and YouTube channels to dissect every leaked message, report, and photograph. Some were incredulous, some enraged, and some outright sarcastic. One prominent commentator quipped, "We've gone from March Madness to March Mafia. Honestly, if this doesn't end in a movie deal, I don't know what will." The mix of humor and shock only amplified the viral effect, ensuring the story dominated headlines for days. Even inside the league offices, the panic was palpable. Insiders claimed that urgent emergency meetings were held, with top executives frantically trying to determine which information was real and which was fabricated. Emails were forwarded, phones were confiscated, and legal teams scrambled to contain the narrative before it spiraled completely out of control. It was like watching a house of cards collapse in slow motion, one anonymous front office source described. Every call we made seemed to make things worse. Federal authorities, allegedly tipped off by one of the league's monitoring systems, began quietly investigating potential violations of gambling laws, insider trading rules, and financial fraud. Early indications suggested that the scope of the alleged scandal was massive, potentially involving hundreds of players, dozens of coaches, and multiple executives. The FBI reportedly coordinated with other federal agencies to analyze betting patterns, track financial transfers, and identify potential criminal activity within the league. One particularly sensational report described the alleged involvement of a private data analytics firm contracted by the NBA to monitor player performance. Sources claim that this firm may have been hacked, with sensitive information about player injuries, rest days, and in-game decisions siphoned off to select high-stakes gamblers. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the mere possibility of this kind of breach sends shockwaves through the NBA community. The scandal also has a human element. Players whose reputations were previously untarnished suddenly found themselves under a cloud of suspicion. Young athletes on short-term contracts face potential termination or suspension based solely on rumors and leaks. Coaches and staff, some of whom had dedicated decades to the league, were scrambling to protect themselves from legal or reputational fallout. The tension was not just financial, it was personal, emotional, and career-defining. As the days unfolded, media outlets began reporting on supposed Operation Hardwood, a fake but believable code name for an internal investigation allegedly tracking suspicious gambling activity. According to sources, the operation documented detailed transactions, communication logs, and even secret meetings in undisclosed locations. The story painted a picture of a league entangled in its own web of greed and secrecy, with every new revelation adding more pressure to an already collapsing empire. By the end of part one, the NBA was no longer just a basketball league. It had become a symbol of unchecked ambition, financial excess, and alleged corruption at the highest levels. Fans were demanding answers, sponsors were questioning loyalties, and authorities were supposedly preparing for what could be the most explosive investigation in professional sports history. And just when it seemed the situation couldn't get any worse, leaks hinted at something even bigger: a network of hidden operations, high-stakes gambling rings, and insider information that could rock the very foundation of the NBA forever.
The leaks weren't just whispers anymore. They were a tidal wave. By the second week of the investigation, what had started as a few suspicious bets had transformed into a full-blown media frenzy. Reports emerged of a secret, sophisticated betting network operating under code names like Operation Hardwood and Full Court Press, allegedly spanning multiple states and involving dozens of players, coaches, and even executives. The sheer audacity of it all had people asking, how deep does this rabbit hole go? And more importantly, who's really in charge here? The league, the gamblers, or the players themselves? Inside sources claim that the ring worked like clockwork. Players reportedly leaked minute-by-minute updates, injury tweaks, plan substitutions, even who would take the final shot in critical games. One anonymous source, claiming to be a former analytics coordinator for a Western Conference team, said they treated the season like a stock portfolio. Rest a star, move a bench player, boom, hundreds of thousands in bets activated. It was insane. And the craziest part, nobody was hiding it. They were brazen. Brazen indeed. Allegedly, some stars even set up burner phones, encrypted messages, and secret group chats to coordinate with high-stakes gamblers, leaving a digital trail that authorities reportedly followed like breadcrumbs. The public reaction was immediate and merciless. Social media exploded. Fans, analysts, and casual observers alike dissected every leaked screenshot, every forwarded text, every photograph of players meeting mysterious figures in private lounges. Memes went viral at a pace nobody could keep up with. One popular TikTok spliced together footage of a star player leaving a game early with images of luxury poker tables and online bet trackers. Caption, NBA or Vegas, you decide. Within hours, it had millions of views. Reddit threads were flooded with speculation, rumors, and outrage. Comment sections turned into digital courtrooms, with fans delivering verdicts, sentencing, and memes all at once.
Meanwhile, sponsors weren't just concerned, they were panicking. Word from inside the league suggested that Nike, Gatorade, and even smaller partners began immediately freezing contracts, pulling ad campaigns, and demanding detailed reports on what had actually happened. One marketing insider allegedly said, "We didn't wait for the league statement. If there's even a hint of integrity issues, our brands can't be associated. The fallout would be catastrophic." And catastrophic it was shaping up to be. Analysts predicted losses in the billions if the scandal continued to escalate. Sponsorship withdrawals, canceled endorsements, and an uproar among fans who suddenly questioned whether watching the game had any meaning at all. As the media circus grew, so did the alleged extravagance behind the scandal. Investigative sources painted a picture of players living double lives. Private jets ferried into discreet meetings. Luxury hotels hosted poker nights that blurred the line between networking and criminal conspiracy. And lavish spending, yachts, cars, high-end watches, was reportedly funded partly by ill-gotten gains from the betting operations. Anonymous tips suggested that some of these funds flowed through shell companies to avoid scrutiny. It was like watching Wall Street meets Hollywood, said one former front office employee, and the NBA was their playground. The leaks even hinted at internal complicity. Certain executives reportedly aware of the activity allegedly turned a blind eye, prioritizing revenue streams from betting partnerships over integrity. One leaked internal memo attributed to a mid-level operations manager read, "We've noticed some irregularities, but don't touch anything. Sponsors love the betting engagement. Transparency can wait." If true, this wasn't just negligence, it was orchestrated inaction. A tacit nod that the money was more important than the game itself.
Street hustler tone. Fans weren't the only ones reacting. Former players, analysts, and media personalities went on record to discuss what some called the collapse of credibility. One retired legend said in a podcast, "We used to play with pride, with honor. Now, it feels like a circus. The league isn't protecting anyone, not the fans, not the players, not even the stars themselves." Another former coach, speaking anonymously, added, "I've seen shady stuff before, but this is organized. They weren't just playing games. They were running a casino disguised as the NBA." The leaks also revealed some of the most shocking alleged details. Insider tip-offs on injured players before games, sometimes hours before tip-off. Bench rotations manipulated purely for betting purposes. High-profile stars allegedly receiving cut payments for providing detailed in-game updates. Data breaches at NBA contracted analytics firms with real-time stats allegedly sent to offshore betting accounts. Coaches allegedly coaching players on how to communicate subtly to signal gambling patterns to insiders. Perhaps the most explosive revelation came when a purported whistleblower revealed encrypted chats between 3 top players and a betting consultant. In these chats, code names like Ace, Full Court, and Moneyball were used to refer to specific games, players, and wages. One chilling message allegedly read, "Starters out tonight. Spread will hit. Bet big." This single message, if true, represented the type of micro-manipulation that made the entire league look like a rigged operation. As news outlets covered these leaks, public outcry intensified. Fans protested outside arenas, demanding accountability and transparency.
The NBA's reputation, built over decades, was teetering on the edge. Analysts speculated that the league's brand, once synonymous with global integrity and sportsmanship, could collapse entirely if the fallout continued. Meanwhile, viral clips and commentary from YouTube personalities added a layer of humor, sarcasm, and outrage, blending entertainment with scandal in a way that traditional media couldn't match.
Authorities were reportedly not idle. Federal investigations, allegedly coordinated with multiple states, aimed to uncover the full extent of the alleged betting network. Investigators claimed they were tracking unusual financial transactions, encrypted messages, and even suspicious travel patterns. Rumors of subpoenas for players, coaches, and executives circulated widely. One insider described it as a net slowly tightening around the league, and no one knows how far it goes. And the speculation didn't stop there. Imaginary sources, some claiming insider knowledge, some likely embellishing for clicks, suggested that the scandal could extend beyond the NBA. Could it reach college basketball? Could international tournaments be affected? Some reports even hinted at potential involvement of international sports books, foreign betting rings, and offshore accounts designed to circumvent U.S. regulations. If true, this would make the NBA scandal a global affair, stretching far beyond the confines of American arenas. By now, the NBA's internal chaos was reportedly reaching peak fever. Teams were allegedly auditing player communications, reviewing financial statements, and investigating staff with unprecedented intensity. Front offices supposedly demanded access to private messaging apps, emails, and even social media interactions to verify integrity. Players, some of whom had never been implicated in any wrongdoing, found themselves caught in a storm, their careers hanging for a thread. And just when it seemed like the scandal had reached its peak, more details emerged. Leaked images of luxury poker setups allegedly used by the network appeared online. Modified tables, hidden cameras, and digital card readers made the scenes look like a high-tech casino out of a spy movie. These visuals spread like wildfire, fueling public outrage, further damaging the league's reputation, and making it almost impossible for anyone to separate fact from speculation.
The fallout also impacted the league's broader ecosystem. Broadcasters allegedly pulled programming, delayed live shows, and paused sponsorship integrations. Ticket sales plummeted, merchandise sales tanked, and social media sentiment was overwhelmingly negative. Some analysts predicted that if the scandal wasn't contained, the NBA could face a multi-billion-dollar revenue loss in a single season. Fans weren't just disappointed, they were enraged, feeling betrayed by an institution they had once trusted implicitly.
As the scandal unfolded, the NBA found itself in uncharted territory. The leak of player communications, betting operations, and alleged internal complicity had triggered a chain reaction the league couldn't contain. By now, the public wasn't just angry, they were demanding justice. The question on everyone's mind, could the league survive the storm, or was it on the brink of collapse? Reports emerged that government authorities were actively investigating, with subpoenas allegedly sent to players, coaches, and even executives. One anonymous source inside the Department of Justice hinted at potential federal charges for conspiracy, fraud, and illegal gambling operations. It wasn't just about the game anymore, it was about accountability, and the consequences could be career-ending. Some sources even speculated that criminal investigations might lead to prison time for those most deeply involved. The NBA, for decades, a symbol of excellence and entertainment, was suddenly under a microscope that threatened to expose every dirty secret hidden behind closed doors. Executives were scrambling to protect themselves. Board meetings, once formalities about marketing strategies and player contracts, now reportedly focused on crisis management. Insider reports claimed that emergency sessions were convened to strategize damage control, with some executives allegedly resigning preemptively to avoid public scrutiny. Rumors suggested that the commissioner himself was under immense pressure, receiving calls from senators, sponsors, and media outlets, all demanding transparency and swift action. One purported internal email read, "This is bigger than basketball, bigger than money. We need a plan, and we need it now."
Meanwhile, the fallout extended far beyond the boardroom. Teams were forced to respond publicly to allegations, issuing statements about integrity, cooperation with investigations, and zero-tolerance policies for gambling misconduct. Some players, even those not implicated, found themselves issuing apologies, clarifying rumors, and attempting to salvage reputations in the court of public opinion. Social media, relentless as ever, kept the pressure high. Every post, every interview, every sighting of players in public spaces became fodder for speculation. Memes portraying players in courtrooms or as gambling overlords went viral, blurring the line between fact and exaggerated comedy. The financial ramifications were equally alarming. Major sponsors had already begun cutting ties. Nike, Gatorade, and several other household names allegedly froze contracts indefinitely, reportedly costing the league hundreds of millions in lost revenue. Some financial analysts predicted that if sponsorships continued to evaporate, the NBA could face a financial crisis unparalleled in its history. Smaller partners followed suit, not wanting to risk association with a tarnished brand. Merchandise sales, ticket revenue, and broadcast ratings all reportedly dropped as fans expressed their outrage by boycotting games, and social media campaigns like #FixTheNBA gained momentum.
Could this scandal cause an entire franchise to fold? Some industry analysts believed it was within the realm of possibility, especially if multiple players were suspended or banned. The idea that beloved teams could vanish from the league overnight sent shockwaves through fan communities. Players who were implicated faced immediate consequences. Some were reportedly suspended indefinitely, pending investigation. Others were allegedly stripped of endorsements, fined, or asked to pay restitution for lost revenue. High-profile stars, those whose names drew the most attention, became the focus of public outrage. Social media campaigns called for lifetime bans, while petitions circulated online demanding legal action. The line between punishment and spectacle blurred, as fans and media outlets seemed eager to witness the downfall of those they once cheered for. Even beyond the players, the alleged involvement of coaches and executives added fuel to the fire. Anonymous tips suggested that certain coaches may have knowingly facilitated betting schemes or failed to report suspicious activity. Executives, meanwhile, were accused of prioritizing profit over ethics. One purported email from a high-ranking official read, "Revenue over rules, always has been, always will be." If true, these revelations painted a picture of a league whose foundation of integrity was compromised from the top down.
The NBA's reputation, long built on athletic excellence and global appeal, faced unprecedented damage. International fans, once enamored by the glamour and spectacle of basketball, reportedly expressed disillusionment. Overseas sponsors and media partners began questioning their association with the league, with some threatening to pull coverage entirely. The scandal, originally contained within a domestic network of insiders, now threatened to become a global issue, challenging the NBA's dominance as a premier international sports brand. But amidst all the chaos, the drama didn't end with legal and financial consequences. The scandal also sparked a cultural conversation about the role of gambling in professional sports. Pundits debated on news panels, podcasts, and social media about whether leagues like the NBA were enabling corruption by indirectly benefiting from betting markets. Commentators argued that what started as entertainment had evolved into an industry where financial incentives often overshadowed fair competition. Was this just one scandal, or a symptom of a larger systemic problem? Fans were left questioning whether the games they loved were genuine or orchestrated spectacles designed to profit a select few. As tensions escalated, the NBA reportedly began instituting reforms, at least publicly. Imaginary proposals included stricter monitoring of player communications, transparency in betting partnerships, mandatory ethics training, and even the creation of an independent integrity office. Critics, however, argued that these measures were reactive, insufficient, and possibly performative, designed more to appease sponsors and fans than to genuinely solve deep-seated issues. Some insiders allegedly remarked the league wants to look like it's fixing the problem, but the truth? This goes deeper than anyone realizes.
By now, the world was watching every development. Every press conference, every official statement, every leak report became fodder for speculation and outrage. Social media, as always, amplified every reaction. Memes continued to flourish, hashtags trended, and YouTube channels like ours broke down every alleged detail for hungry audiences. Fans debated ethics, loyalty, and justice, but above all, they remained captivated, unable to turn away from what many considered the scandal of the decade in professional sports. And now, as we reach the conclusion of this shocking saga, one must ask, what happens next? Will the NBA recover from this blow? Will implicit players return, or will some vanish from the league entirely? Will sponsors resume partnerships, or has the trust been permanently shattered? And perhaps most importantly, what does this mean for the future of professional sports in America when money, fame, and corruption collide? Here's where you, the viewer, come in. What do you think about the NBA scandal? Should the league implement stricter policies to prevent gambling manipulation? Should players face lifetime bans, or is this an overreaction? And what about the executives? Should they be held accountable too? We want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let us know your opinion, start a discussion, and tell us who you think is most responsible for this chaos. And if you're shocked by these revelations, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you never miss breaking truths like this. Because the world of professional sports is more scandalous, more dramatic, and more unpredictable than ever. You'll want to stay tuned as we continue to investigate, expose, and of course, entertain with the most jaw-dropping, mind-blowing stories that others won't dare to touch. So grab your popcorn, buckle up, and stay with us because the NBA scandal is far from over, and we'll be right here uncovering every hidden detail, exposing every shocking twist, and keeping you at the edge of your seat every step of the way.
So what do you think? Can the NBA survive this chaos, or is the league officially on life support? Every shot, every pass, every game suddenly feels shadowed by scandal, corruption, and secret bets. This isn't just about a few players or coaches, it's about a system that let greed run wild. Who do you blame? The stars, the executives, or the league itself? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear your hot takes. If you're shocked, stunned, or just can't believe what's happening, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications because we're digging even deeper into every hidden detail, leaked report, and explosive twist behind this massive NBA scandal. Don't miss a second of the chaos, the drama, or the truth they don't want you to see. Stay tuned, this story ain't far from over, and you'll want to see how it all unfolds.